Hello everyone. Today we will be talking about Chomsky normal form. We will be discussing about how context-free grammar can be converted into CNF, that is Chomsky normal form. Grammar with the format two non-terminals or a single terminal on the right side of the production is what you call as Chomsky normal form. Say for example, S tends to AB, two non-terminals, S tends to A, single terminal. Such type of grammar is called CNF. Before we convert CFG to CNF, that is context-free grammar, to Chomsky normal form, we have some important rules which need to be followed. First rule says that we need to remove epsilon productions, if any, except in the start state. That means start state can have epsilon production, rest all of the productions must compulsorily remove all the epsilon productions. Second rule says that remove all unit productions, if any. And third rule says remove useless symbols if any. Start variable should not appear on the right side of any product. First rule is remove epsilon productions. What are epsilon productions? Say for example, I have a grammar S tends to capital A, A tends to small a, capital A or small a, B tends to small b, capital B or B or epsilon. Here B tends to epsilon is a epsilon production. Now how do we remove the epsilon production? Productions as given here. One is from S tends to, another from A, and third from B. Say P1, P2 and P3. We will replace all the productions which have capital B with a null production. We will replace capital B with epsilon. So we are left only with capital A in the first production, that is P1. Please remember, original production will always remain and new production will be added whenever we are removing any of the productions, that is unit production, epsilon production or use. Since there is nothing related with capital B on the right side of P2, there will be no change. Next we move to third production. In third production we have B tends to small b, capital B. This capital B will be replaced with null and ultimately what we will get is small b. So original production will remain and new production B tends to small b will be added in P3. Since we have in the P3 B tends to small b, capital B or B or B, small b is coming twice, so we will remove this. So the final context-free grammar which we get is, next is unit production. What is unit production? Consider the grammar S tends to capital A B or capital A or B, A tends to small a, capital A or B. Here production S tends to A is a unit production. Unit means one single non-terminal leading to a single non-terminal. Just take another example. In this, we can clearly see that A tends to B is a unit production. Rest all the productions on the right side have either two non-terminals, a single terminal or a single terminal and a non-terminal, except for one, that is A tends to B, single non-terminal leading to a single non-terminal. How do we remove unit productions? Just replace this A tends to whatever on the right side. So after removing this unit production, what we have the output is, instead of this capital A, we are having small a, capital A or B, and the unit production has been removed. So, but again remember, original production, that is S tends to AB or B will remain, only new production will be added. Since here we are having 2B on the right side of the production of S, we will cancel one B and the output which will get corresponding to this production will be S tends to capital A B or small a, capital A or B. Now we come to another example of unit production. In this case, we have a unit production of A tends to B. We will just replace this by putting all the elements on right side of B in place of this unit production B. In first, there is no change since there is no unit production. In third, there is no change since there is no unit production. Only changes in the second, where there was unit production. We have replaced this with the right side of production. If there is a unit production of the type A tends to A or B tends to B, it is immediately removed without any change in the grammar. Now third comes the useless symbol. What are useless symbols? A symbol is useful if it is generating and reachable. So there are two conditions to identify useless symbols. First is it should be generating and second is it should be reachable. In the coming slides, we will be discussing what are generating and what are reachable symbols. Generating symbols means that it can generate a string of terminals. Say for example, we are having a grammar. In this grammar, A tends to small a, this is generating. B tends to small b, this is generating. C tends to small c, or small d is generating. That means they are generating a single terminal or string of terminals. D is not generating because D is not leading to a terminal or group of terminals. So in this case, we can say that D is a useless symbol since it is not generating any terminal or string of terminals. Generating symbols are decided in 2 rounds. In round 1, only those variables are included which generate terminals, as we considered in the previous example. There A, B, C were generating, whereas D was not generating. So in first round, A dash has A, B, C and D is removed. In the second round, all the productions generated from A dash set, that means generated from A, B or C, are included. Now, since S tends to A, B or C, D, D is not generating, so C, D is not considered, but since A and B both are generating, so S will be considered as part of generating symbols. So after both rounds are completed, the final grammar which needs to be considered is this. Here we have removed D as useless symbol. Now we move to what are reachable symbols. Reachable symbols means that it can generate string of terminals from start state capital S. Now if I consider this grammar, in this grammar, B is useless. Why? Because it is not generated from S, although it is generating a terminal symbol. B tends to small b. Hence, the final grammar after removing non-reachable symbol in this particular case will be S tends to capital AB or small b, A tends to small a. So, B has been considered as a useless symbol in this grammar. Now consider the grammar in which we had find the reachable symbols. D was removed since it was not generating. Now S tends to CD is removed. Why we are removing CD? Because we have S tends to AB or CD. Though C is generating, but since C is attached to D and D is not generating, so this is removed. If CD is removed, C is also removed because now it is not reachable from S. So the final output which we will have will be S will include all the productions of S, all the productions of A and all the productions of B. The useless symbols were C and D. This slide discusses very important points which need to be considered, that all rules have to be followed in sequence. First, check if there is any epsilon production. If yes, remove it first. Why? Because epsilon production can lead to unit production. So remove epsilon production first. Say for example, we have a grammar of this type. Initially, when we have a first look at this grammar, there is no unit production in this. But once epsilon production is removed, unit production is generated. Since we remove epsilon from B tends to epsilon, we remove this, we have a unit production S tends to A. So it is important that first epsilon production should be removed, then unit production should be removed. Next step is check if there is any unit production, maybe in initial grammar or maybe in the grammar generated after removing epsilon productions. Then rule 3 should be followed after rule 1 and 2, that is sequence should be followed, rule 1, rule 2 and then rule 3. Sometimes you can apply rule 3 beforehand, that means first you can remove useless, then move towards epsilon removal and then use unit production removal. But please remember, before unit epsilon should be removed. Once all 3 rules have been completely followed, now the grammar is ready to be converted to Chomsky normal form, 2 non-terminals or a single terminal. Now consider this grammar. In this grammar, we don't have any epsilon production, we don't have any unit production, we don't have any useless. We will try to convert this into Chomsky normal form. S tends to AB is in Chomsky since it has 2 non-terminals. A tends to small a, B tends to small b are in CNF since they have single terminals. We need to convert rest 3 productions in CNF form. We will introduce 2 new productions. A1 tends to A, B1 tends to B, and we will put the grammar in this form. Now just see, all the productions on right side have 2 non-terminals or a single terminal. So this is how we convert a grammar from CFG to CNF after applying all 3 rules. Fourth important point was that ensure that start variable does not appear on right side of any production. If start symbol S appears on right side, then how we will remove it? We will augment the grammar by adding a new symbol S dash. This is how we augment this. S dash tends to S. Now we have start symbol as S dash. And since this symbol is not appearing on the right side of any production, we can say that now we have completed the fourth condition. Since this grammar after augmenting has a unit production, we will remove this unit production. We will replace the productions of capital S in S dash. Now we will convert this into Chomsky. Again, we have two new productions. A1 tends to A, B1 tends to B. We put them. But we see that in this case, we still have A1 S A1, B1 S B1. That means three non-terminals. But since CNF say that we should have two non-terminals, so we will introduce two new productions. One is A2, another is B2. A2 tends to A1S, B2 tends to B1S, and now the final output which we get is in CNF, two non-terminals or a single terminals. We can summarize this by saying that we have discussed rules for conversion of CFG into CNF with the help of examples. In the coming slides, push-down automata, second important component of theory of computation, will be discussed.